Hey, Commander, question. Do you prefer the old world or the new?
Well, clearly he prefers the new.
If you...
Look at him! Clearly he prefers the old!
Excuse me.
Generations Ultimate!
Monster Hunter World.
Ultimate!
World.
Old style!
Iceborne.
How about you shut up and we can have both?
Okay! Hello there, my fellow hunters. Gather round! And let's talk, because... well, I have been wondering recently. There is rumors that have been building for a while about another Monster Hunter game continuing the portable series. So a Monster Hunter after Generations Ultimate, presumably done in the old style. And obviously we know that World is continuing in the form of Iceborne. I tried to make it sound like I was cold in relative to the ice for a bit of extra flavor, but it just sounded like somebody snuck in and tickled me while I was speaking. I wish someone would tickle me while I was speaking. It would mean I wasn't alone. Either way, it's entirely likely, then, or at least distinctly possible, that we will live in a world where we have a new main-ish, air quotes, Monster Hunter game in the form of World and its sequels and however that develops, while simultaneously existing a line of new Monster Hunter games in the form of GU style that continues existing. So the old world and the new, both running parallel to the other, and you can hop between depending on which kind of Monster Hunter you fancy, or if, I don't know, you're going on a long travel trip and, you know, we need your Switch, so you play that one. That might make the decision for you. But this is very interesting to me, because, yeah, look, on the surface of it, alright, great, more Monster Hunter. Yeah, wonderful. And by the way, in terms of the rumor mill, I mean, like a month ago, we do get a little bit of a stirring that a new Monster Hunter for Switch might be announced, though the month that was supposed to be announced was last month, so we don't know really what's happened with that. But what we do know is when the 15th anniversary came along, they get the developers to write little note cards, and the director for Generations Ultimate, the director for the Portable series, had this one with a not-so-subtle next written into it. So maybe, quite literally, Monster Hunter Next?
Mother of God.
Though, personally, we've had Monster Hunter X, at least as it was in Japan, Generations. Then we had Monster Hunter Double Cross XX, as was Generations Ultimate. Are we gonna get Monster Hunter Triple X? Like, can we get Monster Hunter XXX? That's a whole new world of monster hunting right there, because finally, my greatest dream will become real! So that is exciting, right? And also the fact we might get another portable one is exciting too. Hey, no, but that's great. So I wanted to discuss essentially what that might look like and ask you guys what your opinion would be on such a occurrence. So obviously we have Iceborne, and then presumably after that maybe we'll just get added expansions for a while, each unlocking a whole new chunk of continent, new maps, a new bit of story, because World really can support that format, just major expansions, almost like expansion packs to an MMO, like WoW Cycle once a year. That would work lovely, but eventually presumably we'll get the 6th generation of Monster Hunter and Monster Hunter World 2 or whatever it becomes, and that's all lovely. God, imagine Monster Hunter World 2. Oh god, I mean, with how good the oh my word. And I should address, perhaps, the gammoth in the room. If I had to commit to only one style, only one game, it would be Monster Hunter World. I do hold it as the best one, but don't get me wrong, I adore the old style. Of course I do. They are my favourite game series joint of all time, and really, they are quite evidently a big part of my life in every way. In fact, the happiest moments I've ever experienced, or at least quite a fair few of them, have stemmed, even if the connection is tenuous, from Monster Hunter and from me choosing to make it my focus in what I do every day. And thank you, by the way, all of you guys, for making that possible with every video you watch. It's just amazing. YouTube is being a little bit not great right now, so every single one of you, it's everything that you're here. So, you know, give yourself a pat on the back, or you may have a cookie. But if you do decide to have a cookie while patting yourself on the back, then I'm sorry, but I can never speak to you again, you greedy bastard. So, let's pretend we have Monster Hunter Next on the Switch and Monster Hunter World 2 on consoles and PC. which one is the 6th gen? Which one brings in the 6th gen? Granted, Generations and Generations Ultimate were spin-offs and not considered true main series titles, so I would imagine we won't ever enter the, air quotes, 6th generation of Monster Hunter until World 2, so every portable one that comes out until then is still part of the 5th gen. That kind of makes sense and ties itself up nicely. But the one that I ponder that I find oh so very, very curious, what would happen to world exclusive monsters? And also, what would happen to exclusive monsters added in the portables? Would they ever cross paths? Would they ever bleed into each other's games, each other's systems? Can you imagine picking up Monster Hunter Generations Mega Super Victory versus Next, yeah, awesome, Next, and seeing yourself in the old world facing an Anjanath, for example? Yeah, you can easily say, well, obviously, we're not going to have any New World monsters. They're in the New World. How would you fight them? We're not going to travel to the New World in the olden style games. Alright, sure, but surely they might think about adding some of the newer invented monsters, like Basil, who is, you know, a nomadic predator, can fly for miles. He could surely make it back to the old world. But then fighting it in that graphic style with those combat systems, almost an entirely different experience, because you have to think about how you interact with a monster differently, depending on whether you're playing GU or World. Of course you do. They are, of course, both Monster Hunter games, but very intrinsically different in how you actually combat the creatures, for the most part. So, I think it would be really kind of weird, and I'm not sure if I would want it. Imagine taking monsters we've only ever faced in World, and then experiencing them through the lens of how it used to be before. I mean, in the other way around, of course, I doubt we'll ever see the Fated 4 and the like in Monster Hunter World or World 2 or however it happens, because they are G and GU exclusives, and again, spin-off anniversary type titles, and they kind of want to separate that out. The same reason I don't think we'll ever, or at least it's highly unlikely, we'll see Styles or Hunter Hearts. We won't see any Hunter Hearts, alright? I mean, to be fair, with how much we mercilessly slaughter our way through nature, and yes, it's supposed to be for the good of mankind, and yes, hunters are technically supposed to be preserving the balance in life because we do care about the living, breathing ecosystem, but come on! We essentially look at everything that breathes and go,
you need to stop doing that.
We definitely really don't have any hearts right now. Though I will admit, seeing them animated in World's aesthetic would be just the sexiest thing. Can you imagine? But the main question I want to ask and see you guys answer then is, would you, I mean, I feel like the obvious answer is yes, but how would you feel about having that kind of crossover where you have a World one and you have a Switch one, two distinct Monster Hunter styles running parallel, releasing new games and bouncing off each other? I mean, to me that sounds just perfect, and more than that, it sounds like that is essentially what's going to happen, and it makes very much sense from the business side of things. The Monster Hunter World itself, obviously Capcom's best ever selling game, it's incredible. They're going to want to push that as much as possible, and in that sense, it would be silly to stop selling the portable titles because they were ungodly popular in Japan. Granted, not as in the West, only a small niche kind of cult following for Monster Hunter happened before then, of which I am a proud member. High five to all you 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Fleet Hunters. You know, you 5th Fleeters are good as well. Don't get me wrong, but like you weren't there, man. You weren't there in Monster Hunter 1, all right? When Fatalis would kind of just walk gently near you, and you would lose 80% of your health from some broken ass air-based scale-ripping hitbox, and you would cry yourself to sleep tonight, knowing you were the failure your parents always said you would become. Oh, I still love that game though. So, yeah, for me, I am all about this, and I really, really like it, and I love the idea of perhaps Monster Hunter having a crossover with Monster Hunter. Like, can you imagine the commander meeting, like, the pub manager?
Oh, hello there.
Hello, Susan.
I'm sorry, do we know each other?
We went to hunting school together, Susan.
No way, I'd remember you.
We were hunting partners for 6 months!
I have drank a lot of Psycho Serum in my life.
I understand.
But essentially, there's not a lot to say. It's mainly something I want to raise because it's a distinct possibility and there's not many negatives to it. It works for us, of course it does, more Monster Hunter. It works for Capcom, obviously, and... well, the only real disadvantage is, oh, the portable gets that, I want that in World, or oh, they have that in World, I want that in Portable. But really, you can just do both, and it brings more people into the wonderful Monster Hunter community, and it really is a wonderful one. Like, just the best I've ever been a part of. I absolutely adore it. So, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the subject. I realize this isn't the most crazy discussion point, but it's definitely something worth bringing up, I feel, and I quite like the idea of seeing it happen. And I also kind of like the idea of a monster arms race to see who can come up with the most ridiculous new creature to pioneer their game. I feel like the portables might have that covered when they have, you know, a mantis that can summon a fucking mech, and we get dragon that regrows spikes. I say we like this side, and I've chosen the new world. Choose your allegiance. Where do you belong? But I think you do get more liberties, and that's actually a really good thing. You can go much more mental, much more crazier in the more arcadey, portable ones that we have now, and that lets it go in that extreme. You know, arts and styles are fine, because if we want the more grounded, you could argue true Monster Hunter naturalistic experience, you go to World, and it gives two flavors of the same amazing base ice cream. And that's, yep, that's my analogy for I brought it back around to Iceborne, because ice cream is cold, so, you know, tied that one up in a bow. Real neat. Alright guys, I'm gonna go before I just keep prattling here. Thank you all for listening. Let me know your thoughts. Like you've enjoyed this, subscribe for more. Oh, goodbye.
Rage Gaming with the video float.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you even though the outro's no longer that kind of relevant. But the new one's being worked on and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.